Well, hello there, guys. Good evening to you. Welcome back to the voice acting playthrough of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. We're about to enter the last episode of Part 3, which is Recipe for Turnabout. Case number 3 is about to come to a finish here today. It is now time for the battle between Phoenix Wright and Furio Tigre. Sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Thank you so much for watching.
So we're finally gonna see the tiger on the stand. We've almost got this case won now, Nick.
I wish I could agree.
Huh? When I cross-examined Mr. Armstrong just now, he said he was just doing what the tiger told him to do. But Godo picked up on it, remember? He pointed out that without proof, we don't know if what he testified is the truth. You mean, you think Mr. Armstrong was lying?
I don't know. But if that's the line the prosecution takes, we could be in trouble. I get the feeling that we don't have the case-making evidence we're going to need. Hey, pal!
Detective Gumshoe! What are you so jumpy about, Detective? Your hair's standing on end.
Hey, that's the pot calling the kettle black, little Miss Topknot.
It's not a top knot.
Never mind about the hair. Just calm down, all right? I can't sit still when I don't have a job to do. I kind of get wound up. Ah!
No kidding.
You gotta have something you need me to do, pal. Anything.
Well,
Hey, I'm gonna take a jog back down to the precinct. I could get some prints analyzed for you if you got an hour.
An hour? The trial will have reconvened by then. But Nick, we still don't have a really decisive piece of evidence, right?
True.
Without some kind of trump card to pull out of the bag, we're really stuck. You said you could get some fingerprint analysis done in an hour?
You bet.
In that case, would you mind checking the prints on this for me? Take that! If you're going back to the station anyway, could you find out whose prints are on this?
Oh, hey. That's the small bottle I gave back to you this morning, right?
Yeah. Think it's time we solve the last mystery of who the prints on it belong to.
Sure thing, pal. Actually, that's been gnawing at me, too. All right. Okay, I'll get this off to the lab right away. Just make sure you don't lose the case before I get back.
This is pretty much the final showdown, I guess. It's time to separate the phonies from the real guys.
Hold on now, reconvene. Mr. Godo, did you find this Furio Tigre? I even tamed him for you. It was a 3-cup job. No problem.
Named him? Guy's name may be Furio Tigre, but come on.
He's pretty lively. Be careful. He still bites. Very well. Please show Mr. Tigre to the stand. Witness. You said your name and I'll come in. Ah!
Don't hide under the table, Maya. Unless there's room for me down there, too.
What'd you say to me? Nothing. I didn't say nothing. Honest.
You could have guessed that fear would induce a bad Brooklyn accent in the judge.
I got business to take care of, you hear me? Who the hell called me into this hole? Was it you, Spiky?
No, of course not. It was the judge. Your Honor?
Oh dear, I seem to have dropped my pen. Where on earth is it? Don't mind me, just carry on with the proceedings as normal.
That's it. We're doomed.
Maybe you didn't hear me. I said, who the hell was it to call me in here? There's no need to shout. We can all hear you. What'd you say? There's no point struggling. You're caught in a snare. The relentless snare of the law. And I'm the one that hauled you in.
Too cool. I'll never get the better of you, Nick.
Let's start with the basics. You know about the incident in question, correct? Incident? I don't know nothing about no stinking incident, masked boy. You mean you didn't attend the previous trial of Maggie Bird? Maggie who? I got more important things to do than watch courtroom dramas. Of course. Perhaps you could give us your testimony then? Please tell us about what you did on the day of the murder. Phoenix Wright! You was the one who set this up, didn't you? You's gonna regret the day you ruffled the tiger's fur. You hear what I'm saying?
Maybe I should have brought a diaper with me today. Get a grip, Nick.
I don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up with business in December last year. Spent all the time in my office. I got whales lined up to borrow cash from tender lender every single day. Just want to check my alibi? Just ask Via later. Ah, last I found my pen. Very well then, Mr. Wright. What is it? Please, witness, if you could refrain from shouting out like that. I know the kind of games the guy in the blue plays. That lowlife ain't no lawyer. He just punches away at stupid details till he wins.
Lowlife? Me?
Listen up, Smarty. Every time you ask me something that doesn't relate to this case, I'm gonna bill you $50,000, and you's gonna borrow the cash from me.
That's one loan contract I refuse to sign.
And don't think it ain't gonna hurt when you tangle with the tiger. I love a good spectator sport. Just a minute. It's really not. This witness is, how can I put it, a hungry tiger roaming the urban jungle. Get on his bad side, and he'll bite everyone's heads off. Yours too. Very well. I have no choice but to impose a penalty system here. You's better be listening. I said I got business to take care of. Big business. If I don't split now, I ain't gonna catch my bus. Court will impose a penalty for any irrelevant pressing of witness testimony. Keep that in mind as you begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor. You can do it, Nick. Come out from under there already, would you, Maya?
I was tied up with business in December last year. Spent all the time in my office.
Are you sure about that? We're talking about 1 month ago, you know.
You see these teeth? That's how sharp my secretary is.
Sharp? Is he talking about Viola Cadaverini?
She writes everything in my scheduler. December, mainly in the office. That's what it says, so that's where I was. It seems like a rather, sketchy schedule.
There he goes again! The tiger did all December isn't the issue. What's important is what he was doing on the day of the murder. So now what?
Mr. Tigre, what you want?
If you wouldn't mind going into a bit more detail.
Objection!
This is a dead end, Trite, and you know it. Remember the rules.
Objection! No! It's essential that we establish the witness's alibi accurately.
I agree.
Victim was killed on December 3rd. Were you in the office that day too?
Maybe yous ain't listening. Of course I was. I never set foot outside. I had meetings all day with a bunch of cats wanting to do business with me. I ain't never seen that young kid before. I do believe the witness's last statement was important. Mr. Godo, you could please... Mr. Tigre, court asks you to add that last statement to your testimony.
Well, then an animal beat you. Be a man, Your Honor, and ask him yourself.
Day you's talking about, I was in the office too. I never saw that kid before.
Objection! Mr. Tigre, you claim you didn't know Mr. Glen Elg, but it appears that Mr. Elg knew you.
What?
Mr. Elg left this little note on his calendar. Meet with the tiger. And the date, December 3rd.
December 3rd? That's the day of the murder.
So, Mr. Tigre, I submit that you did indeed know one Mr. Glen Elg. Because on the very day of the incident, you met with him.
Not bad. He's actually not bad.
Sorry?
I was just messing with you to see how good you were.
Hear that, Nick? He said you're not bad. That's one compliment I can do without. Plus, he's lying through his teeth.
Witness, please remember that you're under oath. Lies will not be tolerated. You're calling me a liar? Is that what you're doing? Bro! So you're saying that your claim to have never seen that kid before is the truth? I said I'm dead serious. You better believe that's the truth. Huh. And I'd say that gives me time to enjoy another cup of pure black magic. That is, while you testify for the court again, Tigre. Oh, yes, you mind indulging the court, witness?
Never actually met the victim? That's gotta be a lie right there. It's time I nailed this guy.
I ain't no liar. I never met Glen Elg. There was some lame guy with that name, though, wanted to borrow cash from me. I set up a meeting with the guy at my office, Tender Lender. I waited around for him, but he ain't ever showed. I ain't never ever been to the Tribulations joint, you see? I see. It all seems perfectly logical. You had arranged to meet with the victim, but he didn't show up. I've heard it's pretty hard to keep appointments when you're dead. Very well, you may begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor.
Didn't I tell you I got a big deal going down today? I ain't gonna make my bus now. I'm gonna have to take the express train. That bill's going straight to you. Right. I ain't never ever been to that Tribune joint, you see?
Objection! Mr. Tigre, is there something you'd like to tell the court about these matches?
Matches? What you talking about?
We found them in your office at Tender Lender. They're from that restaurant. If you've really never been to Tribune before, what was the book of the restaurant's matches doing on your desk?
You've been snooping around in my stuff now too, wise guy? What are you, my ball and chain? Ain't no broad controlling me. Order! Well, witness, I think it's time you started telling us the truth, don't you? Sorry, I'm terribly sorry, forgive me. I ain't no pussycat. Don't go back on what I said. But okay, I was at the joint that day.
What?
But listen good, alright? I might have been there, but I still never met that kid.
Well,
Looks like an order just came in for another testimony.
This close to proving it was him. He did meet Glen Elk that day. And he did put poison in his coffee. He must have.
I was supposed to meet with the kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. I figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be, so I split. I heard the cops' sirens on my way out, and I went straight back to my office. See, didn't actually meet with him in the end then. Oh, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold it! If I wait around here any longer, I ain't even gonna make the normal express. No more stupid questions! Huh. No problem. Anytime Tripe presses you on something irrelevant, I'll see he pays a penalty. Mr. Godo, that's my job. Your job is to slam that little hammer of yours and call a guilty verdict. So do it! Yes, sir. The special express ain't cheap, right? Just so yous know since you's paying.
Oh man, doesn't the rule of law mean anything around here?
When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene.
Objection! You're something of a loan-collecting pro, aren't you, Mr. Tigre?
No one escapes the tiger's clutches!
Well, I'm something of a lie-detecting pro. And no one escapes the Phoenix clutches! I think it's time we got something straight.
What's this, Trite? New line of irrelevant questioning?
These are the floor plans of the crime scene. You say you were standing at the entrance, Mr. Tigre? From there, your field of vision would have covered an area something like this.
Indeed. The witness would have had a clear view of the victim's seat. Isn't that what I just said? I saw the back of the kid's head.
Unfortunately for you, that is not possible. If the court would think back, you'll remember that between each of the tables is a tall partition.
Wait, that's true.
Now look at the plans again. The truth is painfully obvious. From the entrance, the field of vision of any customer walking in ends here. So, from the entrance of Tribulations, you couldn't have seen the victim's seat. But you did see the victim that day, because you met with him!
Objection!
Wrong. Have you forgotten the old man's testimony yesterday? The victim was alone at his table.
Objection!
But the defense just proved that point to be moot. The victim witnessed by Mr. Kudo was not Glen Elk, but a fake.
What?
In order to have Mr. Kudo falsely testify, the real killer posed as the victim he had just killed and acted out a charade.
That will do. This trial has gone on long enough without the obvious question being answered. Who exactly was this real killer who impersonated the victim? You say the killer murdered Glen Elk and then impersonated his victim in a performance for Victor Kudo? In that case, Mr. Wright, reveal the identity of this criminal to the court.
Take that! Obviously, the killer is Furio Tigre. No one else could have done it.
What? Well, witness? Now that's cute. You think you can pin this on the tiger? Maybe you don't understand. Tiger is king of the jungle, so I dare you to say it again. Come on, you got the guts. You got me, Mr. Tigre. It's the defense. Go ahead and tell the witness, Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright! Sounds to me like it must be you, old man. You's got guts, I'll give you that. Mr. Wright, do not leave me to handle this alone. Huh. Perhaps I can end this embarrassment. Mr. Godo! Let's just go back over Mr. Kudo's testimony one more time. The old man didn't see just the victim. Oh, no, no, no. The serving girl bought him a jalapeno, but she put something in it. There's no question about it. She very conspicuously put some white powder in there. Was the victim he saw the real victim or not? That doesn't matter. The fact remains, he saw the accused put the poison into the coffee. Yes, it was the waitress who poisoned the coffee.
Very impressive, Mr. Godo. Waiting for my absence to launch your attack.
Huh. Found your pen at last, Trite?
It was in my pocket. Ahem. But anyway, Mr. Kudo witnessed two people that day. He saw the victim, the supposed Mr. Glenelg, and the waitress from behind.
Yes. Your point, Mr. Wright?
I think the conclusion is obvious. If this Glenelg was really the killer in disguise, then surely it's possible the waitress was also part of the show.
What? Think the waitress was an imposter as well?
The defendant, Miss Bird, fell unconscious immediately after the incident. Someone used her fainting to hatch an elaborate plan to pin the murder on her.
What was it? Who was this waitress that Mr. Kudo witnessed?
Take that!
Who is this woman?
Her name is Viola Cadaverini. She's an employee of Tender Lender.
You was making a big mistake. You know who Viola's grandfather is? Better be going home in an armored truck tonight if you know what I mean.
Stop shaking, Nick. Where was I? Yes, the defendant, Miss Bird, has stated the following. Well, when I took the coffee over to the victim's table, it's true there was another customer in the restaurant. She was sort of creepy, and she had a kind of cackling laugh. There are just too many contradictions in this case. Second man at the victim's table whom nobody but Miss Bird seems to have seen. The earpiece worn by the victim in his left ear when that eardrum was ruptured. And the radio show he was supposedly listening to half an hour after it was over. There is only one logical explanation that clears up all of these contradictions. The whole incident took place twice. One for real and once for show. And Mr. Furio Tigre, the only person who could have committed the crime, is you!
Witness, what have you got to say? That's cute. Sorry? It's alright. I could do with a guy like you around.
What do you mean?
Okay, I'm in on this game. I'm gonna have to charter a jet to get me to my meeting now, but I'm gonna give you this one more thing to think about before I go.
Something to think about?
You've got it all wrapped up nice, alright? But you've missed out one real important thing!
But that can't be!
I was in the joint that day, and I met that kid too. But I couldn't have poisoned him, you see? What? You really expect us to believe you now, Mr. Tigre? Huh. What a troublemaker.
Troublemaker?
Looks like we're gonna need another one for the road. One more steaming cup of hot testimony. Indeed. Witness, you will explain yourself to the court. I will give you one more chance to testify. What happened that day at Tribulations between yourself and the victim? Yeah, I loaned Elle cash, about $100,000. That day, we was due to have a little chat. The kid had hit his payback date, see? So anyway, he tells me he's got no way to pay up. I'm about to flatten the guy when he starts screaming. Yes, I won! $500,000! He got lucky, you know. Real lucky. That waitress hadn't done what she done, everything would have been over. Now, I see that the principal amount you loaned him, Mr. L, was $50,000. Yeah, well, you's got the VIG to take into account. Interest builds up fast, you know.
That's faster than fast. $100,000 is twice his principal.
And the repayment deadline was December 3rd, the day of the incident in question. Yeah, he was one lucky kid. He got that $500,000 just in time. So I ain't have no reason to kill the kid. And if I ain't got no motive, you ain't got no case.
His motive? He has to have one, but what is it?
If that waitress hadn't done what she done, everything would have been over.
Hold it!
The waitress? You mean...
The girl with the glasses in the defendant's chair. Who else could I mean? If she hadn't got in the way, things would have been bada bing, bada boom, over and done with.
Maybe I should push a little harder on this. What do you mean things would have been over and done with?
Are yous all there or what? I'm talking about the cash. I was there to get my $100,000 back. That's all. I'm a businessman. It was all coming together before that waitress got in the way. As far as I can tell from the witness's testimony, other than recouping his loan, Mr. Tigre had no motive for killing the victim. Witness, you will amend your testimony to reflect what you had just said.
Tiger's motive, huh?
I was after the $100,000. I didn't have no other reason to kill the guy.
Objection! So you just intended to get back the $100,000 Mr. Elg owed you, correct?
I loaned the guy the cash, so that's my right.
Unfortunately for Mr. Elg, I don't believe the $100,000 is what you were really after.
Objection!
What are you getting at, Trite? What else would a money lender be after other than money?
Oh, the money lender was after money, but money in a totally different league. The kind of money that a single disc like this would fetch.
What is that?
A computer virus, Your Honor. A virus called MC Bomber.
A computer virus? What does one of those do?
A computer virus is a program that wreaks havoc on the insides of a computer.
A computer? What does one of those do?
I guess the beard isn't the only part of his honor that is from the Stone Age. I'll explain it to you later, Your Honor. Right now, this is the most important point. a virus like MC Bomber would be worth several $1 million on the black market.
Several $1 million?
Lending money with no hope of ever seeing repayment would normally be bad for business. But in this case, the very fact that Glen Elk had no way to repay the money is crucial.
What?
Glen Elk was a programmer, a highly skilled programmer. That skill was the collateral Mr. Elk put up in order to borrow the money.
Objection!
You're trying to suggest the witness's motive was to get hold of that program?
Exactly.
The witness may have poor fashion sense, but he is by no means an idiot, Wright. A man like him could get his hands on $1 million without resorting to murder.
Of course he could, provided that he had time. What if he had needed the money right then? When the pressure's on, the luxury of choice tends to disappear.
Seems you have a logical conclusion for this theory, Mr. Wright. You care to share it with us? Why did Mr. Tigre need money to the tune of $1 million?
Take that! In December of last year, you found yourself in need of a huge amount of money. About 6 months ago, you were involved in a traffic accident, weren't you? An accident involving a car and a scooter, in which a young woman was injured. She was taken to the hospital, where she underwent surgery.
How much of this do you know?
These medical papers document the treatment of the young woman in question. According to these, her operation cost $1 million. And yet, when the payment was due last month, you somehow managed to pay it in full.
$1 million? A preposterous sum. Someone should sue these HMOs. Huh. No one would pay a bill like that. The medical association got wind of it, the hospital would end up as dead as a morgue.
But Mr. Tigre had no choice but to pay, because his very life depended on it.
Order! You say his life depended on it, Mr. Wright?
Indeed it did. Simply because the injured woman was none other than Viola Cadaverini.
You say Cadaverini?
Bruno Cadaverini, mob boss in charge of all underworld activities in the city, and doting grandfather to his precious Violetta, also known as Viola Cadaverini. Your life was in danger unless you paid compensation to the boss, correct? It makes sense. You were desperate to acquire the $1 million Bruno Cadaverini demanded of you. So desperate, in fact, that you decided to sacrifice Glen Elk's life to pay your debt. On the day of the murder, Mr. Tigre's sole intention was to get his hands on this CD. Glen Elk had no way of paying back the $100,000, and Mr. Tigre knew it. But then a miracle happened. The kind that Mr. Tigre would prefer to say never happened. But he can't. And neither can I.
The lottery win?
Exactly. At the 11th hour, Mr. Elk won $500,000 on the lottery, which left Mr. Tigre with no way of getting his hands on the all-important CD. At least, no legitimate way. So he resorted to illegitimate means.
That's crazy. He murdered Glen Elk and then made his next move to frame Maggie Bird for the crime. Mr. Tigre posed as Glen Elk, while Viola Cadaverini played the role of Miss Bird. And then, they reenacted the whole thing in order to establish a witness. The witness being the one we all heard testify yesterday, Mr. Victor Kudo.
Objection!
Like I said, Trite, that's crazy. No one could pull off a stunt like that. For starters, there's no way the chef could have been kept in the dark about it.
Objection!
But Mr. Armstrong was in on it from the very beginning. You forgotten already, Mr. Godo? Mr. Armstrong owed the witness money too. $500,000, in fact. He had no choice but to go along with Mr. Tigre's plan.
You've put on a good show, Spiky. If yous want to stay alive in the loan shark business, gotta be careful. You saying I dressed up like that kid, created a witness, and framed someone? If I did something crazy like that, I'd leave a trail as bright as my shirt. I ain't dumb enough to do something sloppy like that.
I agree.
You do?
Despite your appearance, you are very careful. That's why you took one more precaution. One more trick to make sure Miss Bird had no way out.
What? Another one, Mr. Wright? Interesting. Why don't you fill us all in, Trite? What was this trick you say Mr. Tigre performed to frame the accused?
Take that!
What on earth is that? What an insult to think anyone could be fooled by such a childish imitation.
Consider yourself insulted, Your Honor. Mr. Tigre, you didn't just pose as the victim on the day in question. A month ago, in this very court, you posed as me!
What? That's...
The truth.
But... The witness looks nothing like you, Mr. Wright. Although, now that I think about it, it was you, wasn't it? No doubt it was you, standing in here, this very court, a mere month ago. The Phoenix Wright who put up the most disreputable, shabby defense I had ever seen.
Objection!
Can you prove that, Gramps? Prove the attorney who represented the accused here a month ago was this man? Are you prepared to take the stand and testify that it was him? Hey. Forget about it, yeah? I wouldn't do something like that. Not me. You made a mistake, right? It was someone else, huh?
Objection!
Have you no pride, sir?
Objection!
This isn't a matter of pride. In any case, you didn't know, Trite. Here in court, we deal with people's lives. Mr. Godo is right.
Your Honor?
Speaking for myself, I am absolutely convinced. The attorney in question was the witness standing before me now. However, I preside over this court as the judge, with the vested power to hand down a verdict. Someone in my position cannot be swayed by a memory without evidence to support it.
No!
If the defense has no further evidence, Court will now excuse the witness. The circumstances surrounding Mr. Tigre are dubious for sure, but not conclusive.
But we come so far!
You say he impersonated Glen Elg. You say he impersonated you. But none of that adds up to a murder charge. You don't have a shred of evidence that the witness poisoned the victim's coffee.
Ah!
Huh. Sucks to be you, right? Don't mess with the tiger, or you're gonna get mauled. You got that?
All we managed to do here was chase him around a bit. But I was so close to getting him to admit his own guilt.
Huh. Looks like I won't be needing a refill.
If I just had one more piece of evidence. One more piece of evidence, and maybe I could get Maggie off the hook.
Witness's cross-examination is over. You are free to go, Mr. Tigre.
Hold it.
Your Honor, sir. Oh, wait! Detective! Detective Gumshoe! Sorry it took so long, pal. I staked everything on this. My badge, the works. So here it is. My heart's counting on this too. What is it, Detective? Isn't it obvious, pal? It's the final, decisive piece of evidence. What? Oh, it's a recess. Goodness me. Sorry it took so long, pal, but I finally got the results back from the lab.
The results?
About the prints, pal, from this medicine bottle.
Oh, so, do you know who the prints belong to now?
You think I'm some kind of hack detective? Of course I know.
So, tell us. They're the tigers, right? I knew it.
You bet. Clear as crystal, all over the bottle. They're Furio Tigre's paw prints, all right.
That's great. You've got him now, Nick. What's wrong with you? You've hardly said a word since Detective Gumshoe got here. He's laid everything on the line for this, Nick. I know. Look, I'm sorry. This is kind of hard to say, but it really doesn't make any difference whose prints are on that bottle now.
Huh? What? Why not?
What we need to produce at this stage in the trial is irrefutable evidence that the tiger put poison in Glen Elg's coffee. He's already admitted that he met the victim. The fact that his prints are on this bottle, that really doesn't make any difference now.
I knew it. Great. No matter how hard I try, I'm never of any use.
Hey, don't be so hard on yourself.
This is our last chance to help Maggie. And I've been working on some useless piece of evidence the whole time. It's alright. I'm a real loser. It's not breaking news to me, pal.
Detective? Gumshoe? Maggie! You've been working on something for me?
Sorry I let you down, Maggie. I know you didn't do it. And I'm a detective. Supposed to be able to prove stuff like that. I'm really sorry. I'll get out of your hair now.
Detective Gumshoe! Wait! Gone. Isn't there anything we can do now, Nick? Wish there was. Gumshoe worked so hard to get that evidence. If only there was some way I could use it.
Alright, we got the small bottle back. Mr. Wright,
Yes, Your Honor?
I granted you a recess so you could prepare this decisive evidence you discovered.
Yes.
Don't keep us all in suspense, Trite. Show us. Naturally. We can assume it's evidence that will actually stand up in court, can't we?
Think, Phoenix. Don't let Gumshoe's hard work go to waste.
How much more of my time are yous gonna waste? I ain't been in no court before. But yous lawyers sure know how to blow things out of proportion. No doubt, given the nature of the evidence, it will speak for itself. Nevertheless, you will talk us through it, Mr. Wright.
Well, I know I can't prove anything new with this evidence. I'm really backed into a corner here. Maybe if he thinks he's got me beat, he'll let his guard down a bit.
Don't keep us waiting any longer, Mr. Wright. Present this final, decisive piece of evidence to the court.
Take that! This is the defense's final piece of evidence.
Isn't that the victims?
Your Honor? Naturally, the court is already aware of the contents of this bottle. However, interesting new information has come to light. We have clearly identified some fingerprints on it. Fingerprints belonging to you, Mr. Tigre!
What? Mr. Wright, what conclusion are you hoping to draw from this new information?
Everyone in here knows what this bottle contains. Except one man. One person in this courtroom should theoretically be in the dark.
My prints are on that fancy-looking bottle. Is that what you're saying? Well, what the hell's in it anyway?
Phony trial, a phony lawyer, and phony clues. Everything about this case has been phony. Seems like the perfect excuse for some phony evidence. Mr. Tigre, this is a decisive piece of evidence that will prove your guilt. Why? Because it contains potassium cyanide. This bottle contains potassium cyanide.
Potassium cyanide?
Poison used to murder Mr. L, Your Honor. The victim's killer used this very bottle. And on this bottle, Mr. Tigre, we found your fingerprints. Well, how do you explain that?
You're being a good clown, you know that.
What?
Yous ain't never gonna get this to stick. Yous are just making me laugh now. You think a cheap bluff like that's gonna fool the tiger?
A bluff?
I can see straight through you, Phoenix Wright. That ain't the bottle with the cyanide in it.
No. This is the bottle we found traces of the poison in.
Don't mess with the tiger, or you're gonna get ripped to shreds. The cyanide bottle was brown, and it was made of glass. That cheap piece of trash don't look nothing like it.
Got it. At last.
What? Why's everyone gone quiet? I said that bottle!
Is this the bottle you're referring to?
Yeah, that's it. That's the bottle the cyanide was in. But you ain't gonna find my prints on that bottle. Don't let that cozy looking suit fool you people. That lawyer's just playing games. Tell him, Mr. Prosecutor. Tell that guy where to go. You still haven't figured it out? Don't you realize what you just said? What I said? What did I just say? You were summoned to this court for the first time earlier today. If you really had nothing to do with the murder, you shouldn't have known all the little details. For instance, you shouldn't have known what kind of bottle the potassium cyanide was in. But just now, you slipped up in front of every single person in this courtroom. You described the exact bottle used by the killer to hold the poison! You just don't know who you was messing with! I'm the Tiger! I control millions of dollars on the black market! You say I'm gonna let some jumpsuit get the better of me? Sure. The last piece of evidence was phony. That's just what you deserve! A phony trial with a phony lawyer, it was all played up by you! The biggest phony of all! What's going on? Looks like a blackout. Well done, Wright. I saved my 17th cup of coffee just for you. Savor it. While you watch the police restrain your prey. Mr. Wright, caught a tiger by his toe, but if this one hollers, he won't be let go. Now then, how are things going with Mr. Tigre, Mr. Godo? He is being arrested on suspicion of the murder of Glen Elg, Your Honor. Fortunately for us, we managed to rectify a very grave error. Miss Bird was found guilty in the absence of a genuine defense attorney. Yes, she was. And in the absence of genuine evidence. But the tiger made one mistake. Indeed. He very nearly got away with everything if it wasn't for that one slip of the tongue. Dario Tigre is a truly frightening criminal. Huh! Truly frightening one. Is that defense attorney over there? Odo. Well, I am now in a position to deliver my verdict. This court finds the defendant, Maggie Bird, not guilty. Woohoo! Let's go! That is all. This court is adjourned.
Mr. Wright! I'm at a loss for words. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Maggie. I was so mad when Mr. Wright landed me in all that trouble a month ago. But now I feel like I can forgive him.
Hey! That wasn't me, Maggie! That was the tiger!
Look, Nick. In the doorway. Detective Gumshoe.
Oh, I guess I'll be off then. See you around, pal.
Oh, wait! Detective Gumshoe?
Oh yeah? Congratulations, Maggie!
Thanks.
I knew you were innocent all along.
Why didn't you say that in your testimony then?
Huh? Oh! Well, I was... Well, guess I'll be heading off then. See you around.
Wait up, detective! Just ran off. Hey! Why are you being so hard on him? He busted his butt for you. It's thanks to him that we got the medication bottle. That wasn't even of any use. But only because Mr. Wright used it so cleverly. Detective Gumshoe was just running around in circles.
Poor guy. Looks like she still isn't ready to forgive him.
Did you put in a good word for him, Nick?
Yeah, Maya's right. I should help Gumshoe out. It's clear he needs it. Maggie? You know, Detective Gumshoe's been really worried about you through all of this.
Hard to believe that, sir. On that first day of the trial, he practically gave a judge a free pass to lock me up.
He didn't have any choice, Maggie. He's a detective. He has to report the facts.
He doubted me, that's why. He thought I might have done it.
Gotta prove to her that Gumshoe really cares about her. I know. I'll give her a little present to celebrate her freedom. Take that! Here you are. A present to celebrate your freedom.
That's...
Present from Detective Gumshoe. Made with a ton of love.
He said you lost weight and he was worried about you. Detective Gumshoe? Hi. I actually really like weenies, you know.
Did you guys hear that? I'm pretty hungry myself, you know. Yeah, the trial dragged on a bit today, didn't it?
Okay if I eat this now.
So, how is it, Maggie?
It's really good.
So the case of phony versus genuine comes to an end. The false allegations surrounding Maggie have all been cleared up. And who knows? Maybe a whole new chapter of her life is about to start. And that's the end of Recipe for Turnabout. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Hello guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Also, you can check out my social media platforms, which are right below my screen. Please check us out and support the show that way. Don't forget, you can watch the action all live on twitch.tv/Stu Waters, where all the action is live with no breaks and no edits. Hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye.